There are moments in the life of this world when greatness does not arrive with noise, announcements, or applause. It arrives quietly, like dawn slipping into the sky while most are still asleep. Animals recognized him before humans did, not because animals are mystical, but because they are honest. They do not ask who you are, what you believe, or what you have achieved. They feel. They sense. They respond to what is real. Before words were spoken, before teachings were written, before crowds gathered, something subtler unfolded. Cows wandered closer and refused to leave. Dogs slept peacefully at his feet. Monkeys sat without mischief. Peacocks stood still, as if time itself had paused. No commands were given. No effort was made. And yet, life gathered around him naturally, effortlessly, like rivers flowing toward the ocean. Dear seeker, understand this gently. Animals are not impressed by knowledge, robes, or reputation. They are attuned to nervous systems, to intention, to inner weather. Where there is fear, they retreat. Where there is desire, they remain cautious. But where there is deep stillness, something within them relaxes completely. In that presence, survival gives way to trust. Vigilance melts into rest. It is not devotion they offer, but recognition. Recognition of a being who does not disturb the world by needing something from it. Humans took longer because the human mind is loud. Thought creates distance. Belief demands proof. Ego asks for certainty. Animals bypass all of this. They bow only to peace. This is why they arrived first, not to worship, but to rest. And perhaps, dear seeker, this is the quiet question this story asks you now: if animals can sense peace so clearly, what is it within us that keeps missing it? Dear seeker, humans have learned to trust words more than presence, explanations more than experience, and knowledge more than knowing. From childhood, we are taught that meaning must be spoken, written, or proven. Animals live differently. They do not listen with ears alone, they listen with their entire being. Their bodies are instruments tuned to truth. They sense shifts in breath, tension in muscles, disturbance in intention. This is why animals often recognize authenticity long before humans do. Where the human mind analyzes, the animal nervous system responds instantly. In the presence of deep stillness, something extraordinary yet simple occurs. There is no demand in the air, no hunger for attention, no subtle aggression masked as politeness. Animals feel this absence immediately. Fear, which governs so much of instinctual life, finds no foothold. The body softens. Alertness transforms into ease. This is not because the animal understands holiness, but because it understands safety. Silence, when it is real, communicates more clearly than speech ever could. Dear seeker, consider this carefully. Animals are not drawn to power, but to balance. They are not impressed by dominance, but by harmony. When a being rests without inner conflict, the world around him reorganizes itself naturally. There is no effort involved. No technique is practiced. The recognition happens because truth does not need translation. Stillness speaks directly to life. Humans often miss this language because thought interferes. We ask, "Who is he?" before asking, "How do I feel in his presence?" Animals reverse this order. They feel first, and that feeling is enough. This is why, before any teaching was understood, before any identity was formed, animals arrived. They were not seeking guidance. They were responding to a frequency that required no words at all. Dear seeker, among all the silent recognitions that unfolded, the presence of Lakshmi the cow stands apart, not as a symbol, not as sentiment, but as living testimony. Lakshmi did not arrive as a disciple. She arrived as herself. She moved freely, without leash or command, and chose to remain. This choice is important. Animals do not stay where there is expectation. They stay where there is ease. Lakshmi sensed a presence that did not demand milk, service, obedience, or affection. In that absence of demand, trust bloomed naturally. Observe this gently, dear seeker. Lakshmi was not treated as sacred because she was a cow. She became sacred because she was not treated as separate. There was no hierarchy in the gaze that met her. No superiority. No indulgence. Just quiet acknowledgement of shared existence. To be seen without being used is rare in this world, and animals feel this immediately. Lakshmi responded not with training, but with closeness. She rested nearby. She followed without instruction. She mourned without understanding death. This was not attachment, it was communion. When her life faded, grief arose not as drama, but as tenderness. Tears came not because something was lost, but because love had never been divided. Compassion here was not moral, not practiced, not learned. It flowed because there was no barrier to stop it. Dear seeker, this is the deeper teaching Lakshmi offers. When the heart does not categorize life, love becomes effortless. Lakshmi recognized this before words ever could. Not because she was holy, but because holiness is what remains when separation dissolves. Dear seeker, notice how monkeys, dogs, and other wandering beings gathered without invitation, without fear, and without disturbance. Monkeys, restless by nature, known for mischief and constant movement, sat calmly nearby. Dogs, whose lives are shaped by vigilance and survival, lay down and slept. This alone speaks volumes. Animals do not lower their guard unless the environment allows it. Rest is not a decision for them, it is a response. In this presence, the instinct to protect, to compete, to dominate quietly dissolved. Dear seeker, understand this with care. Animals do not submit to authority. They are not moved by titles, robes, or reputation. They respond only to trust. Where there is even a trace of aggression, desire, or manipulation, they keep their distance. But where there is no inner conflict, no desire to control or claim, animals sense alignment. The body relaxes because there is nothing to defend against. This gathering was not obedience. It was resonance. Each animal arrived and remained because the space itself felt neutral, safe, and whole. There was no attempt to tame them, no effort to please them. The absence of intention was the invitation. In that absence, hierarchy collapsed. Predator and prey instincts softened. Individual survival instincts loosened their grip. Humans often mistake control for peace. Animals never do. They know the difference immediately. This is why they rested so easily. Not because they were trained, but because they were met without resistance. Dear seeker, when inner struggle ends, outer conflict loses its fuel. Where the self no longer insists, life settles naturally into harmony. Dear seeker, even the peacocks, creatures of heightened sensitivity and alert beauty, lingered without agitation. A peacock does not remain where the atmosphere is disturbed. Its nervous system is finely tuned to vibration, to sound, to sudden movement. It is a guardian of awareness, always ready to flee. And yet here, the peacock stood still, unhurried, unalarmed, as if the world had briefly forgotten how to intrude. This stillness was not curiosity. It was recognition. Silence recognizes silence. Peace responds only to peace. The peacock did not arrive to admire a form or display devotion. It arrived because there was no threat in the air, no friction in the space. Time itself seemed to loosen its grip. In such presence, even alertness finds rest. Dear seeker, beauty does not seek attention, it seeks harmony. The peacock's stillness reflected an inner stillness that asked for nothing. There was no pull, no push, no effort to attract. When there is nothing to resist, life does not rush. It pauses. It listens. It remains. Humans often chase moments of peace, trying to capture them through effort or experience. Animals reveal a different truth. Peace is not something that appears, it is what remains when disturbance ends. The peacock showed this without teaching, without gesture, without sound. Dear seeker, when the mind stops fluttering, even the most alert parts of life within you will stand quietly, just as that peacock did, present, radiant, and at rest. Dear seeker, true compassion does not arise from effort, morality, or discipline. It arises when separation quietly dissolves. What unfolded here was not kindness directed toward animals, but the absence of a boundary that divides life into higher and lower, worthy and unworthy. Animals were not approached as creatures to be protected or elevated. They were met as life itself, neither above nor below, neither owned nor excluded. Compassion beyond species is not an idea, it is a state. In that state, there is no calculation, no sense of, I am being compassionate. Action flows naturally because nothing blocks it. Food is shared without intention. Space is offered without thought. Suffering is felt without choosing to feel it. Animals sense this immediately. They are accustomed to being measured, used, avoided, or controlled. When none of these energies are present, something within them softens and opens. Dear seeker, humans often practice compassion as a virtue. Animals recognize it as a condition. They respond not to what you believe about kindness, but to whether you divide the world inwardly. Where there is even subtle superiority, animals withdraw. Where there is even subtle pity, distance remains. But where there is simple equality of being, trust arises without effort. This is why animals recognized him so easily. They did not encounter sympathy or charity. They encountered non-separation. And in that meeting, fear had no language to speak. Dear seeker, when you no longer see life in fragments, compassion ceases to be something you do, it becomes what you are. Dear seeker, the deepest teaching does not arrive through instruction, argument, or explanation. It arrives through presence. In this silent communion, nothing was demonstrated, nothing was performed, and nothing was claimed. There was no intention to guide, convert, or convince. And yet, something unmistakable was transmitted, not as knowledge, but as ease. Animals sat. Humans eventually learned to sit as well. Not because they were told to, but because stillness became contagious. Silence, when it is complete, does not feel empty. It feels full, intimate, and unmistakably alive. In that silence, the restless urge to improve, achieve, or become quietly lost its urgency. Animals responded first because they live closer to this ground of being. They did not ask what was happening. They simply stayed. Humans, conditioned by thought, needed time. The mind resists what it cannot label. But even the mind eventually softens when resistance is no longer mirrored. Dear seeker, this was teaching without teaching. No concepts were offered, yet clarity emerged. No effort was demanded, yet effort dissolved. This is the power of silent communion. It does not push you toward truth, it removes what stands in its way. When nothing is added, something essential reveals itself. Perhaps this is why animals recognized him before humans did. They were not waiting for permission to rest. They rested because rest was already present. Dear seeker, when you stop trying to arrive somewhere, you may discover that you have never left. Silence will do the rest. Dear seeker, as this quiet reflection draws to a close, allow its meaning to settle gently within you rather than rushing to conclusions. This story was never about a man, nor even about animals recognizing holiness before humans did. It was about stillness recognizing itself. Animals responded not to identity, not to words, not to teaching, but to the absence of inner noise. And perhaps the deeper invitation for you now is not to admire this from a distance, but to notice what happens when you pause, breathe, and stop interfering with your own natural peace. Even for a few moments, let the world be exactly as it is, and let yourself be exactly as you are. If this silence has touched something within you, do not hurry away from it. Sit with it. Watch how your breath softens when you stop chasing meaning. Observe how the restless parts of you slowly begin to trust. The same recognition that drew animals into stillness is available to you now, not as a future achievement, but as a present reality. You do not need to become spiritual. You only need to stop resisting what is already here. Dear seeker, this space continues through shared reflection. I invite you to write a comment below, not to impress or explain, but to speak honestly. What part of this story resonated most deeply with you? Was it the silence, the animals, or the reminder of compassion beyond separation? Your words may quietly support another seeker who arrives here in silence, just as you did. And if there is a question stirring in your heart, or a theme you long to explore next, share that as well. Let me know what kind of video you would like to hear: silence, self-inquiry, compassion, fear, or the nature of peace. This journey unfolds together, one gentle step at a time. Until we meet again in stillness, remain as you are. Jai Guru Dev.